A coroner has ruled that disabled mum Jodey Whiting took her own life because her mental health deteriorated and her state benefits were withdrawn by mistake.
Jodey was judged fit to work after she missed a medical assessment, and the reason she missed it was that she was in hospital with pneumonia. The Department for Work and Pensions has since apologised and admitted it missed a number of opportunities to have picked up concerns about her. Well, we're going to speak to Jodey's mum, Joy Dove, who has campaigned in her daughter's name. And we're going to talk to her in just a moment. First, here's Will Godley with the story.
Jodey Whiting had bipolar disorder and curvature of the spine, which meant she couldn't work and relied on benefits. In December 2016, she was in hospital being treated for pneumonia, so missed an assessment. 4 weeks later, in January 2017, she was told that her employment support allowance was being withdrawn, as well as housing and council tax benefits. 15 days after she got that news, Jodey took her own life. The first inquest into her death didn't consider the impact of losing that support, but Jodey's mum Joy managed to fight for a rare second inquest, during which the coroner recorded a verdict of suicide due to a deteriorating mental state, brought on by the loss of those benefits.
It should not have taken an 8-year fight for justice to get to where we are today.
Now, Joy says she'll continue fighting so that other vulnerable people don't face similar agony.
And we can speak to Joy now. Joy, I just think it's worth starting with what happened at that second inquest, where the Department of Work and Pensions, who are in charge of all these benefits, they said Jodey had a good cause not to attend the health assessment, given her illnesses. They said that they are deeply regretful and sorry about what happened. There were a number of opportunities to have picked up concerns about Jodey, and we're very sorry about that. The DWP, Department of Work and Pensions, they really did let Jodey down, didn't they?
Yes, it was terrible, you know, to see how much it affected her and what happened in between, you know, decision makers, letters, trying to get it reversed, and me and phoning them up, and poor Jodey, they were cutting off a housing benefit, money, a council tax. And at that time, I would give her anything I could. But I was only on ESA myself at the time. I couldn't pay her rent and everything like that. She was left, you know, really worried. So the last phone call to the job centre, I asked if there was anything, cost to stop the money, if she could get some sort of help, financial, you know, like a loan, social fund loan or anything. And they told me on the phone to go to, well, for Jodey to go to the job centre. I said, you can't walk out the house, you can't breathe, and is it OK if I go for her? So I went to Stockton Job Centre, and I spoke to a security guard and said the score what had happened to my daughter. She couldn't come, but wanted to see if there was any help, because the money had been stopped completely. And they said, right, just a minute. They went to speak to an advisor, and the advisor come back and said, oh, no, her case is dormant. She'll have to go sign on. So when I'd left Jodey's, there was a glimmer of a hope, you know, because we were waiting for the second decision maker, a letter, see if he'd overturn.
And can I ask, did you go to your Member of Parliament? Because when you have a case like this, which has really gone wrong, the MP, their office, they can ring a special hotline straight in to try and get there to be a proper focus quickly when something's gone wrong. Was that something that you thought of doing?
No, at the time, we were getting help from the Citizens' Advice, you know.
Right.
So they were really good. And it was the Citizens' Advice who helped me to get as far as I am today, really.
Right.
Well, that's it. I mean, thank goodness that they helped, but I mean, it just didn't help Jodey.
No.
Right.
Just talk to us about, as her mum, I mean, firstly, devastating loss. And I know that your family has been through an enormous amount of tragedy. I think you're incredibly strong for doing this, for standing up for your daughter.
Yes.
And you've achieved something quite remarkable, which is that the department which withdrew her support has come out and said, we made a mistake.
Yes.
And we're deeply sorry.
Yes.
That is a remarkable achievement, but you should not even be in this situation. just tell us about the challenges that Jodey had growing up, the conditions that she suffered that just made it impossible for her to survive without this kind of support.
Well, when she was born, she had a swelling on the back of her head, and they checked her over and put her in like intensive care thing, and they said forceps delivery, so it could be the pressure of that. And then it went down, so she came home like with me. She seemed okay, she was fine. But then when she was a teenager, you could notice as she was walking, she seemed a little shoulder was seemed one higher than the other. So it was like at, say, 13, getting checked over by a consultant, and they said she had a curvature of the spine.
Right.
And that became presumably progressively worse because then she found it impossible to leave the house at times. And of course, what people might not understand is these things can kind of escalate and start to affect your mental health.
Oh, yes, she was diagnosed with bipolar and lots of things. She'd had operations on her back, taking disc out as well, you know, spine. So a lot started happening, you know, up to her 20s, yeah.
And of course, when that happens, you're in no fit state, either physically, mentally, or emotionally, to be able to deal with a very bureaucratic process of trying to get the support to which you're entitled in any case, let alone when a department makes a mistake. And as her mum, you're trying to step in to make
honestly,
it work.
Yeah, I was doing everything I could, even writing a letter, getting there, you know, we'll write to the doctor, we'll ask them to support you. And I walked into the doctor's surgery and said, could our doctor please help?
Sure.
Benefits are being stopped and, you know, it could make her homeless because of housing benefit, council tax. And sadly, our doctor was away and no one else could do it.
You see, little moments like this mean that cases slip through the cracks. And in Jodey's case, that was devastating.
What gets me, and it always will, they never seen her face. It was like, cut everything off, never seen her. They never phoned. The safeguardings, we found all the failings through the independent case examiner. Now, the citizen's advice got me, like, I said I want to complain to the DWP after she died. And I told the one system on the 23rd of February, she died on the 21st. OK, we'll tell all departments that dealt with Jodey. And so we were waiting for the second decision maker to see if he changed the decision. And on the 25th, when she laid in the undertakers, a letter comes saying for Jodey to say you're fit to work, and she was dead then. Oh, and gosh. 2 days after I told them, that second decision maker, then...
She was judged fit to work, and you received that letter the day that she was...
Like, well, 2 days after, well, I'd phoned them on the 23rd, so like I say, they dated it the 25th,
it's
so
shocking.
They knew. This decision maker wasn't even told.
Honestly, Joy, the things that you've been through are unimaginable.
Yeah.
The government say that there's been a very big rise in the number of people who are getting disability benefits. The government say people should be working if they can, and they want to make it, you know, to help people, but push people into work. Jodey had that assessment because she missed a meeting because she was in hospital.
Yes.
When you got the letter, the first letter, when she was still alive, saying that Jodey is fit to work.
Yes.
What did you think?
I remember where you sat and I sat. We both, I looked, she said, Mum, what am I going to do? It says it could affect your money. And I said, obviously, don't worry, we'll write and tell him everything.
Was she in any way fit to work?
No. She was on 23 tablets a day and there was 2 different types of morphine in them, you know. So, like I say, to my mind, this can't be right. And I kept saying, don't worry, don't worry.
She was fit to work because she hadn't been to an appointment and nobody had seen her.
No, no.
And you were worried, of course, and your worries came true because your daughter took her own life. And now this second inquest for which you campaigned established a direct link.
Oh, yes, and this is another thing. I couldn't have done all this without the help of my solicitors. And they've done a marvellous job. They got me legal aid.
Well, that's good, and a lot of people aren't in that situation, of course. But I just want to establish, you have issued a warning, because you're on the front of the Daily Mirror this morning, saying a very stark warning to the government.
Yes.
What is it? What do you say?
I've just seen it now, it's coming.
Yeah.
Well, it's good that the headline is brilliant, and
Think again on cuts.
There'll be a lot more Jodeys. If they don't, there'll be a lot more people, sort it out. It's getting more and more, people. Even at the second inquest, I got a message from a man saying his son had committed suicide. Could he accompany inquest because he's trying for a second inquest, and he's wanting to fight the DWP for what is, how it's affected their family. So
it's such a...
I said yes, and he said he picked up a lot of points,
But the warning is so important because there's ministers and civil servants and MPs who are debating legislation and looking at the rules, but they all get translated into real decisions
that affect real
individual people
Yeah.
who, and when it goes wrong, it's a catastrophe.
Yeah. Can I say something?
Of course.
At the coroner's court, the lady from the DWP who came to give evidence on their behalf of the case, there was a break, and we went for a break, and then we come back, and I didn't know who she was, but she stopped in front of me and she said to me, I'm so-and-so from DWP.
Helder Swindenbank.
Yeah, and she was lovely. I mean, it's not her fault. She didn't work there at the time. But she said to me, I'm a mother of 2 girls. And she said, what you've done, I read the pen portrait, I gave up my statement. She said, I had a lump in my throat all the way through. And I'm very sorry for what's happened, So that was the DWP. And but at the same time, it's all the paperwork, everything at the background, everything, They came from London, about 4 years ago to apologise. Where I said, I'm going to carry on. I want a public inquiry.
They need to invite you into Parliament, have you tell the members of Parliament to understand how serious this all is and how dangerous it can be if they get it wrong.
Joy, thank you for being with us. It's really courageous of you to speak out, and we really, send you our love.
Thank you very much.
And well done on your strength.
We asked the Department of Work and Pensions to give us a statement, and they told us we continue to offer our sincerest condolences to Jodey Whiting's family. We'll consider the coroner's full findings and use them to build further on the improvements the department has already made to protect and support vulnerable claimants. And I would say if I was the minister in charge of this, I'd be getting Joy round for a meeting and to listen to you and understand what you're saying and make sure that your experience is directly translated into changing things for the better in the future.
Thank you, Joy.
Right, that'd be
That's
great.
what should happen.
Thank you very much.
They should get you round.
Yeah, definitely.
And we've invited...
I was thinking after this case, I need to still carry on and help people.
Well, we've invited them here on television, so let's see what they do.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Thank you.
If you have, if you're affected by that issue or any of the issues we discuss in the programme, you can find advice and support at itv.com/helplines and get in touch with us this morning if that is an issue which resonates with you.